Hey, you know, with charter schools having all kinds of specialties, there's arts schools and there's math focused schools and there's basic education schools. All of those things available here in Arizona with the charter school system. But there's a brand new school that just opened, as a matter of fact, and you'll be finding out a great deal more about this. You may have read about it. Linda Elliott is here. Micheal Weakley representing a school called?
Q High. And we're under the umbrella of 1 in 10.
Yeah, okay, tell me 1 in 10, tell me Q High. Is Q High the only one named that?
Yes.
And the umbrella 1 in 10 encompasses how many schools or how many organizations?
Well, 1 in 10 is the Gay and Lesbian and Transgender Youth Center.
Yes.
So within 1 in 10, we have locations in Mesa, Tempe, Glendale, and a drop-in center in Phoenix.
But this is the first school.
But this is one of our newest program, and it's our school. That's our first school.
Okay, so why this specialty school then? I've already had a couple of people that are close friends of mine who are deeply sensitive people and who are compassionate people who are saying, okay, but wait a minute, hold on. I mean, isn't this taking a specialty school to the absolute nth degree?
No, it's not. We found out through surveying our youth that a third of them were dropouts. And the reason they dropped out was because they'd been bullied in school. So they're not going to go back to traditional school. So when we saw the numbers, we said we've got to do something and educate these youth. So let's start a school.
These youths being those with a different sexual orientation.
Yes.
So,
or perceived sexual orientation.
All right, so then you don't have to necessarily prove anything in order to gain admittance.
Several of our youth are straight who are in our school right now.
And why do they go?
Because they prefer a safe, welcoming environment. For whatever reason, they didn't feel comfortable in their former school.
You know, to me, one of the saddest things is to hear that you have to go someplace else in order to have a safe environment, because there are kids who only feel safe in school because they aren't safe at home.
Correct. And what we really do, and we don't proactively go out and try to get kids to get out of their high school. If they're in a comfortable high school environment and they're happy and everything's good, that's awesome. We really support that. This is really a last resort for a lot of these kids that didn't think they would ever get a high school diploma. We were really giving them an opportunity that they didn't think they would ever get to have.
Would you have gone?
Would I have gone? Absolutely. I grew up in Tennessee in a very small school in the middle of nowhere. Yes, I would have driven an hour to go.
Those of you who, by the way, are watching right now who originally came from Knoxville, listen, it's just the way it is. It's the way it is. Sadly, it's the way it is in Tennessee, and it's the way it is in Iowa, and it's the way it is in New York and Arizona. How many schools like this, not necessarily under the same umbrella, but like this, anywhere in the country?
Less than a handful.
And are you using anybody else as a role model?
No, we just saw a need. We decided we needed to help these youth get their education, so we worked with a curriculum developer and opened the school.
Are you accredited?
Yes.
Not everybody can open a school and just say, well, we have this school that fulfills these unique social needs.
Well, we partner with Arizona Virtual Academy, which they're in 30 states around the country.
And have been here.
Exactly. And so they have a fully accredited curriculum in Arizona, and that's our partner. And so, yes, we're accredited, and these youth, when they graduate, will get a diploma.
You know, as soon as I read about the school and I saw the picture, my first reaction was, terrific. That's great. Any kid who feels as if he's so different, then he can go to this school, much as arts kids can often go to a school where they feel far more comfortable academically. But then my second question was, how does this prepare them for the reality of life after they get out of high school?
Go ahead.
Well, the thing is, 1 in 10, we've been around for 18 years, and all of our programs are designed to empower youth. So they not only get the high school process, they also get the after hours, our athletics. They are involved in every aspect of the community. We are creating programs for them to be aware. Once they go into the real world, they're not always going to be accepted. They're not, LGBTQ is not always going to be the most, popular. But right now, our focus is their education. That is what we really need to get them on, because without this school, then they get no education.
I'm going to ask you a question now because I ask all of my guests every question that I think the audience wants to know.
Absolutely.
And I try to do it in as genteel a way as possible. Now, but this is one that I don't have the answer for.
Okay.
Give me the letters again, all of the letters that are applicable to that segment of our society.
Well, the
L?
L.
Yeah,
B,
keep going.
B.
Yeah.
Well, Lord, you got me confused. LGBTQ.
You just managed to pass your Ames test by doing that. But no, I want to ask you, since every one of the other letters designates a specific category of sexual orientation, why Q?
Q? Well, Q is
for queer.
Well, Q is for queer. Q is for questioning. And the word queer, the youth have taken that word. It used to be, the other generations kind of find that word is very offensive. And the youth,
It's like the N word in a number of areas of society.
correct. But the youth, particularly in our community, have taken that word back and said queer really takes the whole umbrella of who our community represents. And that can be gay, lesbian, straight allies, gender nonconforming, transgender. It includes everyone. And they feel really empowered by using that word.
The very fact that I know some of you right now are saying, oh, come on, please, for crying out loud, get a life. How bad can it be? Well, let me give you an example. Just yesterday, I happened to go to the radio station, and I got a piece of material for you off my computers because I knew you were going to come to visit. And there was a picture of the school, and there was a description of what it is that your plans were for the future, and then, of course, comments underneath. And the one that came up first, the first comment, and as I say, this is from a guy named Steve, I remember, right? Okay. Because it reminded me of the old business of what it wasn't Adam and Steve, it was Adam and Eve. I mean, that cliche.
Yeah.
But this was really a guy named Steve, and he said, "You mean just another school for the mentally ill?" I have to tell you that, as hurtful and as dreadful as that is, that was the first comment, and that's what some of these students are going through.
Exactly. And
So,
that's why we're there.
Do you have counselors?
Yes. Academic counselors, yes, we do.
And we also have personal counselors too. We provide free counseling each day from 2 to 5, one-on-one counseling, and they get group counseling to help handle situations like that. Because when you're constantly being told that you're different, you're not the same, you're mentally disabled, you're mentally ill, all of these things, that works on you. That really affects you.
It would affect anybody.
It would affect anyone. And a few years ago, they highlighted all of these teen suicides that were, gay and lesbian youth. That's not a new phenomenon for us. That's something we've been dealing with for 18 years. There just became a large media attention to it. But our youth, they're teenagers first. I mean, someone asked me, what's the most important thing, facing a gay teen today? I'm like, acne. Acne. They're teenagers first. The LGBTQ is another comma, and so we're
That's
here.
a great line.
We're here to really work with them and just empower them. And people can have their opinions all they want, but we still march forward and empower our young people.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, here's a deal we could make, you and me. Before you have an opinion, educate yourself. Check it out. Check out the school. Under what? Under what? How would they find the school in the computer?
You go to 1in10.org, and all the information about all of our programs are listed there.
All of the programs, academically and athletically, neener. This is Pat McMahon. This is the Morning Scramble.
It's time now for the Wildlife World Zoo and Aquarium Critter Question of the Day. If you know the answer, be the first correct caller at 602-224-2237 for your chance to win.